Why is Japanese so similar to Turkish when they're separated by almost 8,000 miles? If you know one of these languages, you might be thinking, they're not actually that similar. But despite not really having cognates, the languages are actually really similar in their underlying morphology and how they build sentences. So for instance, check out this diagram mapping a Japanese sentence to a Turkish sentence. You'll notice that there's kind of an eerie correspondence. And for learners who speak one language, it can make the grammar of the other feel really intuitive. And a friend of mine who speaks Turkish once told me that it's pretty common for Turkish speakers to learn Japanese and then become tour guides for Japanese people when they visit Western countries. But what explains this crazy long distance connection? One somewhat outdated theory is that the languages are genetically related. So if we say languages are genetically related, we mean they share a common ancestor. This theory, called the Altaic theory, proposes that Japanese, Turkish, and Mongolian and a bunch of other languages descend from one language called Proto-Altaic that was spoken in Central Asia. And it's used to explain a lot of these grammatical similarities. But it's considered outdated because languages that are genetically related almost always share recognizable cognates. And by cognates, I don't mean words that were borrowed from one another or just sound kind of similar. I mean words that we can trace back to a common origin by undoing sound changes that we know happen in different languages. And languages of the proposed Altaic family kind of lack this. But even if languages aren't genetically related, we can still show how they're related in other ways. So another more popular theory is that instead of forming a language family, the Altaic languages form a Sprachbund. So this means that the languages interacted a bunch over time and there's a bunch of bilingual speakers and they kind of brought the languages closer together. But how does this explain the physical distance between the two languages? Well, Central Asia isn't like other parts of the world geographically. A large part of it is what's called the steppe, just open grasslands. And this has led to a lot of cultures there throughout history adopting a nomadic lifestyle. And so this has led to a lot of crazy migrations like the Turkic migrations, the Mongols, the Manchu. So despite being really far away today, these language families used to be a lot closer together. And even after they spread out, they were still connected linguistically by trade and other migrations.